Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and this is a shit ton of boots here, but we're mainly going to be talking about the Ride Torrent, a boot I got at the end of the season, really had a good time with, and I want to talk about that today. I will occasionally reference the Burton Tourist, Ride Deadbolt, the Ride Fuse, a boot I'm very used to. And so let's get to it. I rode this with a wide variety of boards. I even used these in a binding sampler or two. So I really got to know these boots in all kinds of conditions, and I did some uphill travel with my Union Rovers that have drift board bindings on them. And these were sent to me by Ride. No money was exchanged to do this review. So this is for you, the consumer. I'm allowed to say whatever I'd like. I will, though, spoiler alert, be keeping these because they are a favorite and they're a boot I want to keep using throughout next season as well. I'm just comfortable in these boots and they work really well for me. I forgot to talk about weight when I was doing this review. The Torrent is 2.2 pounds. That's the same as the Burton Tourist. It is heavier, though, than the Ride Fuse at 2 pounds. Heavier than the Deadbolt at 1.8, and heavier than the Lasso Pro at 2 pounds. So overall, it's a touch heavier, but not by much, and I don't think most people will care. So let's talk sizing here. This is a size 9 and it fits me really well. I'm a 9E. I'm a wide foot. I'm at the beginning of wide. So once you go from D to E, you're usually more happier E and above in a wide boot, but I didn't even have to heat mold this. This is a wider boot than the Fuse. I had to heat mold this a good bit to get it to fit my size 9E. It was very tight. Or the Lasso Pro, or the 92, or other boots like that. But it has the same width as the Deadbolt. This just has a different construction that fits a little bit wider foot, and I love it. But if you want to heat mold, this Intuition liner is pretty exceptional. It will conform to your foot quickly. For example, when I had to heat mold my Fuse, it was one heat mold and I was done. All of a sudden, it was wide enough for me. So that's pretty cool. Now, when it comes to adjustability, you have BOA down here that stops right here. And then you have BOA that handles the upper. I really like that. I personally like that a lot better than the Lasso Pro that has just one throughout. So you can see down here, down here, down here, it's all the same. When I tighten this inner, nothing happens. You can see. But when I tighten the top, it tightens the whole thing. This is better for really locking in around your heel and eliminating heel lift. So if that's important to you, then you want something like this, or a BOA that overlaps so the upper and lower have a middle point that wrap around your ankle. But for me, I like a little more loose bottom to deal with my wider feet, and then I can tighten the upper a good bit more so I get response if I want to. The heel holds pretty good. I think you definitely can do better with different BOA systems in Ride's line, but overall I felt it pretty supportive and I think most will be okay with it. It's not the easiest on because you have the zipper, you have BOA. It takes a little bit of work to get this dialed out perfectly. I'm constantly tightening it a little bit, then doing a forward flex, then tightening it again, doing a forward flex and making sure I've got the right flex so I don't have to pop it. And when you pop it, it spins out a good bit. So you're almost starting over again, and that's a little frustrating. There's a little strap here. It hooks on right here. You tighten this up, push this down. It took me a little bit at first, and that locks it. But getting this off, it was just pop, pop, zip, undo this, and you're out. It's not the easiest on and off for BOA, double BOA, but it's still very good, and it's a lot easier than traditional lace off. About the same as traditional lace on. Now, when it comes to the flex, there is a very easy forward flex, but there is some articulation points that allow the boot not to bulge and for this not to break down much. And then in the back, you have some reinforcement here a little bit to preserve the flex. When you get your bindings on, this really locks up this easy forward flex and almost stops it with most ankle straps. It's just the right amount of response that can work with a wide variety of boots and bindings. And the construction is pretty good. I really like this. It's a white boot and it's not gonna stay clean for a long time. There is one thing I was noticing here is right down here in this area, it's starting to fray just a touch after about like 15 days or so, but I think it's gonna last a long time. I love this articulation point. The flex hasn't diminished much or at all in the 15 days I rode this. I think it's a very well-built boot, and it's gonna have a lot of longevity and flex. Now, when it comes to shock absorption versus board feel, it's got really good shock absorption. It's actually better than my Ride Fuse. It's not quite as good as the Deadbolt, but the Deadbolt doesn't have the flex retention or the tech that this guy does. There's good board feel too. I do feel a little bit removed from this with all this rubber, but overall it's a minimal compromise for getting all these extra features. Really enjoy the traction on this. I'm not sure why I like the traction so much more with the Torrent than I do my Fuse. My Fuse just always felt a little slippery. I don't know why. The sole on the Deadbolt has great traction too. It's not quite there with my Burton Tourist, but it's good enough and I'm more than fine with it. Now, when it comes to footprint and the warmth, actually I felt like this was a pretty warm boot, which will be good for a lot of people. And the footprint isn't bad. It's definitely smaller than my Burton Tourist. It definitely sticks out a little more, but it's more reduced than a lot of other boots. But it's not huge either, so it's pretty good when it comes to being reduced in footprint. Not amazing, but very good. Now with the insole, they call it the Impacto Elite. It's not a bad insole for like a factory insole, but these insoles pale in comparison to my Footprint Insole Technology Game Changers or my King Foam Orthotic Elite insoles. But even going with like a lot of the Remind insoles that I tried in these, I used these for an insole test. It was just much better going with any aftermarket insole for the most part. And I would say overall, this Ride Torrent really impressed me. It's to the point where I'm willing to try BOA for a whole season. And BOA's long-term reliability for somebody like me who's always ridden traditional lace or speed lace is a little bit of a concern, but not much because I got my strap-ins. And so if a BOA breaks, I just put this on around where the BOA should be and I'll be able to get down the hill and keep riding all day